Greetings, YouTube. Um, I'm sure that all of us at one time or another have seen magicians perform, whether it's amateurs that you know personally or somebody you hired for a kid's party or the professionals you see in films and on television and magic shows. And one of the things that everybody who is into magic knows is that if somebody's doing something, you're not watching the hand that's doing the motion. You're watching the hand that you're not paying attention to because that's what's doing the magic. This this is the distraction. What's actually going on is over here where you probably can't see it. Now it's a simple concept. And of course, the better the magician is, the more difficult that is to pull off. Um, but the principle is the same. It's always about distraction. You need to keep the audience, the rube, in the case of somebody who's trying to con you, from paying attention to what's actually going on by giving them something that will distract their attention. And racism, in many ways, is the same thing because a lot of the people that are using racism aren't necessarily doing it because in their heart of hearts, they hate somebody for their race. They're doing it because that act of racism, the statements, the words, the actions, help them achieve something else. All right? It helps them achieve usually some kind of monetary gain or at least political or social power. That by doing this, they put themselves into a position where they're better off at the end of that racist statement or act or campaign than they were at the beginning. And it also goes for other types of bigotry. But in America, racism is the most common form of bigotry, though I'm sure it probably runs neck and neck with misogyny. Um, but because of this, for hundreds of years, white people have successfully used the labor of people that aren't white to benefit themselves by placing them into the position of being second-class citizens, and in some cases, during the slave era, of putting themselves not in a second-class citizen, you were livestock. So you got your free labor from this person for just having to give them food and a place to sleep because they couldn't go away. If they tried to escape, they'd be hunted down and returned. But that free labor that they gave that was stolen from them after they were stolen from other country, at least their ancestors were. Then their labor was stolen from them, benefited the white families, the white landowners, the plantation owners, or the industrial owners, because slaves were used in industrial as well as agricultural uh, jobs, um, laid the foundation for generations of wealth. The term generational wealth just means just that. Generation after generation of white people have benefited from the wealth that was stolen from those who did the work, who did the labor. But it's not just the people directly that benefit from this. All white people in America have benefited from that distraction. The racism has benefited every single white person in America, whether they're part of the system or they're outside the system and they personally think, I have nothing to do with that. But you do. I know that I am in the position I'm in because of the past in America, which meant that my grandfather made more money than a black person did. And my father made more money than a black person did. And I was put into positions that I have achieved now because I'm a really white guy. Can I prove any of this? Like specific details? No. But we know how racism works. We know how it turns a blind eye to those that don't fit the, stereotype that that particular company or person wants to see. They want to see the white person in that position. It's all about taking from another person, and the racism is the distraction so they can hide what they're doing. Because if they just out and out tried to rob someone without justification, that's going to look bad. But if they can convince everyone around them that this person doesn't deserve it, then when you're stealing their labor, well, that's okay. They didn't deserve it. They never deserved it. They're lesser. So it's okay if they get treated poorly by society at large. It's okay if we put them in prison and make them work jobs for 30 cents an hour while they generate vast amounts of wealth for corporations. That's okay. They're the bad people. And that's how the distraction of racism works in our world. It's an incredibly unbelievably complex dynamic process that has unfortunately sunk its tendrils into every single aspect of our society. And the people that created that are the white folks. And who can take it apart? The white folks. By calling out the bullshit if nothing else. Even though I may never commit another act in my life of overt racism, I have in the past, I am still going to be guilty of inadvertent racist acts because of the way I was raised, the way the world has told me I should behave and think and feel. And even though I am doing everything possible to disassemble that, to disengage myself from it, to free myself from that, I can tell you right now that I may have come 100 yards, but there's 1,000 miles in front of me. I will never stop having to do this. And I will never make up for what the harm was done in the past. But I can try to make today better than I was yesterday and try to make tomorrow better than I am today. And that's all I can do. And part of that is just being a really white guy who's willing to point to other really white people and say, you really need to look at your implicit bias. You really need to look at your own family history. You really need to look at actual U.S. history and actual global history to see how we have extracted wealth from those that we demean, that we have declared are lesser, as a means of economic enrichment for ourselves and to take wealth from them. It sucks. But if we don't do the work, this system's never going to change. Because people that look like me are the ones that built it. And people that look like me are the ones that need to take it apart.